Hello everybody, welcome to the video for Monday night, and this is a really important lesson because it talks about comparison shopping, how to save money on your everyday life. And so how many times you go to the store and then you go to buy detergent or you go to buy cereal or you go buy something else and you could get a big, the thing that stands out to me is cereal. So Mr. Paul's a big fan of Rice Krispies. I can go and buy a little box of Rice Krispies for this much money, or a big box of Rice Krispies for obviously more money. Which one's the better deal? Well, we're not entirely sure. And so through math and through this type of exercise, we can figure out, well, which one's the better buy and why. So one thing that we're going to have you do is, could you pause this and read this about product testing and about Zillions Magazine and how they use their reviews to help, and their kids to help figure out why they like a game or didn't like a game. So if you're testing a board game, what would be some features you'd look for? Why don't you write this down in your notes for today? When readers of the magazine tested backpacks, they considered the fit, the back friendliness, the comfort in determining the best one. Which one of these factors is most important to you? Another one they might want to put is price. Is that important to you? Why or why not? Okay. What is a consumer? Write what you think a consumer is down, and be prepared to use your definition class. Write down what is a consumer for you. Remember that we studied this during the Industrial Revolution of what a consumer and a producer is. Okay? What are some products and services you've used recently? Well, Mr. Peralta, I went and I had to go and buy a bunch of products from Meijer this weekend. We needed food to eat. I also just bought a couple of leagues at Soccer Planet for this summer. Those are all services that I've used recently, and so I pay money for that service. Products are food, clothing, school supplies. Services are things that people do for you. Products are things that you probably have. Services are things that people do for you. Okay, what are some of the qualities of a smart consumer? A consumer, I hope you have in your notes, is someone who spends their money. You're a consumer, your parents are a consumer when you spend the money. A smart consumer makes thoughtful decisions based on the quantity, the price, and the effect of the product or service on the environment, as well as the personal needs or taste. Pretty much, you make a vote with every time you spend one of your dollars. You can spend it on this or you can spend it on that. Make sure that you're spending your dollars wisely. What information might you need before choosing a baseball camp? Well, you might want to figure out what are the qualifications of the counselors. You don't want Mr. Peralta teaching a baseball camp because I don't know that much about baseball. Okay? The types of activities offered. If you're just going to give a bat on a tee and say go forever, it's not going to be a very good camp. Or maybe it's a good camp, but it costs you $100,000. Well, that's not necessarily a good cost for that camp. So you have to think those are information that you'll need to know. How would you go about getting the information for the best product? What do you think? Well, you could ask people who had the product. You could read articles in magazines like Consumer Reports or Zillions for kids. Or you could compare the prices of two items. Okay. Now, we spent a lot of time doing the unit rate, and we figured out the boxes. Remember, we did one bottle would cost what? Because we know 6 bottles. Let me write this out. We don't know what one bottle is, but we know that 6 bottles is worth $2.40. Okay, so we're trying to figure out what one bottle is. Well, if we break out our calculator, because we're going backwards on this, and if we're getting a smaller number, we're dividing. So we're going to do $2.40, or 24 divided by 6, gives us 40 cents. So right here, our answer is not going to be that. It's going to be 40 cents. So we know that one bottle equals 40 cents. Well, once we know that, the rest is easy. 3 bottles, 3 times 40 would be $1.20. 5 times 40, 5 times 4 is 20, so 5 times 40 would give me $2. Once you find the unit price, then it's easy. Do this one for me. $515 for 5 months. So we got 5 months is $515. What would it be for 1 month? Same thing. We're going backwards, so we divide. And once we have that, hopefully you have the answer of $103. Once we have the unit price, once we have Wrong box. Once we have this part right here, the rest of it is easy. We need to get the unit price. So we know 1 month is 103. 2 months would be 103 times 2. 3 months would be 103 times 3. 7 months would be 103 times 7. Just give you that. 10 months would be what? 103 times 10. Just give you 1,030. Do this one on your own. Pause it. Those are your answers. Okay, do this rate table. Put this in your notes for today so I can see it. And make sure you have a good understanding of how this would work. A 10-pound bag costs $5. 10-pound bag costs $5. So 1 would be 50 cents. You would divide $5 by 10 and it gives you 50 cents. Make sure you find the unit price. The unit price is the item per unit of measure. That's what we've been working on. Okay, same thing here. Package of pens, 6 pens cost $4.20. What's the cost per pen? You guys have it? Pause it and put this in yours. Good. This one too. A dozen bagels cost $3.60. Dozen, I hope you know, is 12 of something. So what would the whole thing be? All right. How do we find the unit price? How do we find the unit price? Write that down. That better be in your notes today, how we find the unit price. Let me go back. The unit price is found by dividing the cost by the number of units or items. So here is another example of which is the better buy. You could buy 4 bulbs for $2.08 and 6 bulbs for $3. Well, obviously 6 bulbs are more expensive, but which is the better buy? So you do $3 divided by 6. And you do $2.08 divided by 4, and you would get the cost. So I know, I'm going to break out my calculator here, even though I'm pretty sure $3, let me clear it. $3 divided by 6 should be 50 cents. So this one right here is 50 cents a light bulb. Okay? And then $2.08 would be 51 cents a light bulb, but let me see. 208 divided by 4 is 52 cents a light bulb. And now from knowing that, I know package B is the better buy. It's 2 cents cheaper. Okay? Try this one on your own. A 1-pound box costs $2.24. A 24-ounce box costs $3.84, knowing that 16 ounces are in a pound. Okay? What about this one? 12 ounces of juice costs 60 cents. What's the cost per unit? You do 60 divided by 12. Hopefully you figure out it's 5 cents. And using that information, solve these two. Same with this one. Pause it, get the answers, put this rate table on it. If a 4-pound of bananas costs $1.16, what's the cost per pound? Hopefully you figured that out. Okay, here's another one. Pause it and try it. Here's another one. Pause it and try it. Alright, and then you can see how this is the real world. A lot of times, you could buy a CD for $8, this a little while ago, but you could buy a CD for $8, or you could buy a stockpile of them. You could stock up. You could buy 5 for $25. Well, what's the cost per CD if you buy 5 for $25? Well, 25 is obviously more, but you get 5 of them. So 25 divided by 5 would give you $5 per CD. So, if you were going to use all of these, it'd be better to buy in bulk. It'd be better to buy this price. Try it with this one. These two, and these two. And make sure you're able to find the unit price. Which is the better buy? Buying 6 for this amount or buying 1 for $2.50 each? Alright guys, thanks.